All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, it is 6:04. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. on 12 October 2022. We'll do roll call. Cal Patel, still waiting. Myself, Mark Collins, present. Commissioner Campobasso. I know she's in here. Is she muted right now, Zach?
She's muted, yeah.
Here, sorry.
No problem. Let's move on to our Pledge of Allegiance.
You can go ahead and lead, Mark.
Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
all.
So we can't do these agenda and approval of minutes. Is there any public comment, Zach?
We do have one member of the public here, I believe, Robin. Robin, do you have any comments you'd like to make to the Planning Commission?
She's muted.
Yeah, I just asked her to unmute.
Oh.
Okay. I do not believe so. We're not receiving a response. So.
Okay, we'll move on to presentation.
There are no presentations for this evening.
All right, we'll move on to our public hearing section. Do we have anything public hearing scheduled today?
No, we do not.
All right, this one's going to fly by today. We don't have our action items. We don't have anything as well.
Correct.
So we'll move on to workshops. Let's see this 2022 branding and website development, Zach.
Thank you, Mark. So we just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're going with the 2022 branding project that includes the development of a new city website, new city logo, as well as a stock photography base. So Mark, you have seen some of these before, but I did want to run down these for the rest of the Planning Commission. I do not have Sean from Zipline here today, so I don't have a lot of real specific insight to each specific design, but I will run through them real quick, and then again we will be giving you guys a survey. So if you have any initial comments, it doesn't have to be something. It doesn't have to be like I like this one, I hate that one. It can be I like the colors of that one. I like having arrowheads Washington. I like the font. So you can kind of pick and choose. It doesn't just have to be this. Some of them, I like having the water tower, but I don't like having, the airplane or whatever it is. So let me run through these real quick. So this is our current logo, as you know. It's a little blurry. That was not on purpose. So the first design is called Sunset Rays. And Angelina or Mark, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to just shoot them as I'm going through this. I won't take it personally.
No problem.
So this is the first design. It's the blue, which was a color that tested very highly within our survey, and also it features the sun. It has this little established 1955 on it. Really simple, 2 colors. Here's some variations of that, black and white, just the logo, and then with a more of an eggshell background. It can go horizontal or vertical. And here's that logo on a business card, on a coffee mug, and on a car. So something that has been emphasized through this process is the idea of creating a logo that is easily recognizable on a car that's driving by 30 miles an hour. So you'll see all of these logos on the side of cars. The second logo is called Sun and Sky. And it's more of the vertical stack. You can see the airplane up on the top, the sun, and then the housing. And this also features City of as well as Washington. There's some color variants of that. And again, these colors aren't set in stone or anything, and neither are the graphics. So if you like the design, like personally, I really like how this stacks really well. And there it is on a business card, there it is on a billboard, and there it is again on that truck going 30 miles an hour. This one has actually already been removed from contention, so I'm gonna go through it real quick. Most comments believed it looked too much like an airline logo, to which I agree. It doesn't look like a city to me, so we'll move
I
on
do
to. Oh, sorry.
I do too. It doesn't look like a city logo. The
Very,
fly one.
very corporate.
Mhm.
This is community. So this logo does feature a number of prominent buildings and features within the city. Again, you can see the airplane, you can see the water tower, the sun. On the left, there are some houses. On the right, is supposed to represent one of the buildings of Northern Quest Casino. The initial feedback on this is that the casino piece is a little problematic. There have been some comments to maybe replace that with some more industrial features, maybe a train, or again, something to represent the industrial side of town. But this is circular, it's stacked, it has City of Airway, it has City of Washington on it as well, and a little thinner font. And that is what it looks like in black and white. That is what it looks like standalone, and also with that eggshell behind there. And there's your business card and your truck and your coffee mug and all the fun stuff there. Next one is Clean Lines. And this is an ultra modern logo compared to the rest. It does have the established 1955 and also has Washington State. Very, very thin fonts. It also, all of the lines are exactly the same width. So it creates this very modern look, especially with the gray and the black. It translates to black and white really well. And that's kind of what it looks like, stacked vertically and stacked horizontally, and also as just an icon. There's your business cards and your truck and your coffee mug. This next design is Connections. And it's a little more abstract. It has essentially 3 lines here. One is the sun, you can kind of see it poking up on the right side there. And then I believe the other one is the community and the other one is the infrastructure. I'd have to ask Sean what the representation is there. But again, it has that established 1955. I really like the established 1955. But yeah, it's really clean in terms of vertical and horizontal as well. And there's the black, well, it's actually not black and white because of the yellow. So this is one that may be a little problematic in black and white because of the sun representation. And there it is on all of the various items. This next one is Golden Hour. And this one it's similar to the second one we went through, but again, it has that airplane. You have the sun in the sky. It has the oranges of the sunsets we have out in Airway, the representation of the clouds, as well as the housing out there. And again, Washington. And this one actually works, I think, really well in black and white.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites of all of them.
Yeah.
Zach.
I like that one the best.
Okay.
And you know, I missed the last couple of meetings. I was just wondering, is all these designs coming from the same vendor?
Yeah, so we've hired Zipline B2B to produce these.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
this-
another question, just real
Sure.
quick. The signage, you know, when you drive into Airway Heights off on Highway 2, you see the big, beautiful Airway Heights signs. Who designed those?
I don't know who the vendor was off the top of my head, but I know that it was, I believe, around 2012. It was installed right when, I believe, when the annexation of everything to the west of Hayford Road came in. But I could
Okay.
look that up for you, Angelina.
I was gonna say that the design, especially at night when it lights up, it's absolutely beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm wondering if, I don't know, even something like that, I wonder if they would have some kind of logo for us too. I mean, their design's beautiful and it looks really nice at night.
Okay. So what I can do, I can pass along that comment to Sean, the designer over at Zipline, and let him know, hey, maybe we look at the existing, monument sign and create a
Mhm.
design kind of based around that. So that's good feedback, and I can ask him to take a look at that for sure.
Yeah, even this morning driving to work, the sunset was absolutely stunning. And I was trying to take photos while I was driving, not a safe thing to do. But our sunsets, we're known for our sunsets and our sun rises. I mean, we have absolutely beautiful, gorgeous skylines
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah. Well,
So,
in this logo in particular, we got a lot of positive feedback from the city council, for most members of the city council on this logo in particular. I was speaking with the designer and we kind of were going through it a little bit. One of the comments was to adjust the colors. So we started playing around with the colors, and I threw out the idea of maybe doing a square instead of a circle. So this is one that's been kind of identified as probably one of the leaders, I would say, in terms of the rest of the logos. But again, it can be tweaked with colors. It can be tweaked with shapes. We could add the established 1955. We can do all sorts of stuff. So again, just keep
yeah.
in mind when we're going through these, there may be one little bit of one thing. You hate the rest, but just focus on what you like and what you don't like, and then yeah, when we take the survey at the end here, we can pass that along and get a kind of a second round based on our feedback. So.
Yeah, and just adding to this one, like Airway Heights established in 1955, adding that in there would be even more powerful.
Here it is on a car and a business card and a coffee cup. And this isn't the last one. This is the second to last one, I believe. This is called Good Morning. And it's very, very simple. But again, you see the focus on the sun. Stacked horizontally. It has the city of Airway Heights, Washington. I'm a fan of adding either city of Airway Heights or established 1955. I think both are a little much, but I like that personally. In my opinion, matters here.
Nice.
Here it is. Here it is stacked vertically and also in several other color schemes. Interesting. The icon by itself is kind of interesting. I haven't talked to Sean about this at all yet, but I do like this. I like this logo. I think it's a little more fun than the other sun we looked at earlier. It's a little more whimsical, but I do like the sun actually horizontal as opposed to vertical on this one, just because you can tell it's a sun and it kind of looks odd to me. But everyone has an opinion. And there is it's Good Morning on the various items. Oh, no, that's the last one. So yeah, I know Angela, you gave some initial comments there. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on, or?
No, Zach, I'll keep my comments to the actual working group.
Okay. I appreciate it, Mark. Mark is part of the subcommittee helping us out, reviewing the content, so we do appreciate that. Okay, so next thing I want to go through, we've done a couple trips to the city with Zipline, taking some stock photography, some images that we're going to use to build our website with, as well as doing marketing, future projects. It's just the idea is to have a photo bank for us to pull from when we need to make a poster or when we need to put stuff on the website or post something on Facebook or wherever it is. So I wanted to show some of the pictures because we actually got them this morning, and some of them, the color corrections, there's obviously they need to be tweaked a bit. So don't focus on that. They're huge files. They have a lot of information in them, and they're going to be tweaked to look great. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what we've been working on in that aspect. So, and I'll probably kind of blaze through these. But if you have any questions or comments, again, feel free to shoot them out. So there's going to be 3 sets. There's going to be a set at the beginning that's going to feature some of the pictures we took during Airway Heights days. There's going to be a section in the middle that's going to feature some photos that we took, kind of showing the infrastructure of the city, the various zones of the city, some industrial areas, some residential areas, some commercial areas, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. So these first couple photos were taken at Airway Heights days. And again, a lot of kids, a lot of animals, a lot of sheep. There's our fire department. There's our police department. They were there as well. And there's our city manager, Albert Trick. So this is the second group. Again, this looks a little dark. We're going to lighten that up. That's going to be touched up as things goes. But we wanted to showcase essentially, you know, the variety within the city. And part of this trip, we were really focusing on the sky as well. So you'll see the sky highlighted. This is the fire station. One thing that we're constantly doing in planning is talking about transportation a lot. So I wanted to make sure we had some stock photos of the various transportation features. This is the protected intersection on 12th Avenue next to Sunset Elementary. This, of course, is our water tower. We have a couple really good pictures of the water tower. And there's a Lime scooter because we have Lime now. I don't know if we've talked since Lime is finally launched, but they're active. Big part of multimodal. There's the other intersection on 12th Avenue next to Sunset, but that's actually the STA route on Lawson. So we were lucky enough to get it while the bus was actually there. And that's Sunset Elementary with the Welcome Sunset Falcons. We actually had to wait for that to turn to where it said something that made sense. So that was a fun couple minutes. Here's in front of the police department. That's our police chief, Brad, and several officers having a serious conversation. This is to highlight some of the new designs and new housing we have. This is up in Airway Townhomes. And this is Highland Village. These are connected triplexes. Well, technically they're connected triplexes, but there are apartments over there in Highland Village. And these are some of the single families in Highland Village. And again, I just love the sky on some of these. We were able to get some really cool shots of the sky featuring some of the various features. This is the multimodal path off of Russell Street. And this is Skyview Apartments, which are going in along 6th Avenue. This is another one where like the sky looks totally blown out in this, but once we get it color corrected, it'll look really good. This is over in Sakani, showing some of our single family. This is the roundabout at Deer Heights. Looking at these pictures, I kind of wish we would have gone to the other side of the intersection, so we were facing towards Airway Heights, but you know. This is to highlight some of the new construction again. This is the A to Z rentals going in on the south side of Highway 2 right off of Hayford. And this is just a cool picture because we got the flag waving. This is STCU. This is to show off the C2 highway corridor zone. This is, sorry, Cal just emailed saying he thought it was Tuesday. I don't know if you thought the meeting was Tuesday or today's Tuesday, but anyway. This is DAA. This is, again, we're gonna start going into the industrial area a little bit. And this is the steel plant down there on Highway 2 and 21st, or excuse me, McFarland, not 21st. It's a new Amazon facility. And when we were out there, we talk about rail a lot because it's a big part of the south side of Highway 2 in the industrial area. So we wanted to get some shots of that. So we have a couple shots of the rail there. And that's Exotic Metals right across the street from you, Mark.
Now I'm waiting for you to show our side. Oh, you left us out, Zach?
I took some pictures. They're in there. They're in there. I wouldn't do that to you. This is Wolfie's. We went over to the C1 and C1A, and I wanted to make sure we were highlighting some local businesses. And what's nice about the Airway Heights downtown is most of the businesses there are small businesses and local businesses. There isn't a ton of major chains there. So we wanted to get Wolfie's in there. We got Salad Thai. And then one of our new businesses, Billy's Diner. If you haven't been there, check it out. They're great. And then this, I called this the old downtown because these structures actually date back to pre-1955, which is pretty rare in Airway Heights. So these buildings are original to the city. So we were able to get a good shot there. As you can tell, the weather was kind of turning on us, so we're gonna have to do some color correcting on these, but yeah. And there's a protected crosswalk across Highway 2. That might be it. Nope, one more. We got STA again, King and Highway 2 there. And there is, oh yeah, we have one more group. There's another picture of the water tower. There is the park in Sunset Park. Some kids playing there. This is a really cool picture, and I'm glad we should be able to use it. It's this is from Airway Heights days, but they were able to take this from an angle that really shows the density of folks down there. Like this looks like it could be, anywhere in downtown, but that's Sunset Park in Airway Heights. And this is a kid playing a carnival game. You got to zoom in there of the Falcon logo. And that is it. Those.
Zach, there's actually 2 more fire stations in Airway Heights. The one that the Kalispels helped build off Russell.
Yeah,
and then
the
there's
District
another,
10.
yeah, and it's really, really nice. I think we need to get a photo of that.
Mhm.
And then down past the Longhorn Barbecue, you drive further down that road, there's another fire station.
Yeah.
Also, I think you should be taking photos of the Spokane tribe and the Kalispel tribe casinos because they are huge employers and contributors and donators to Airway Heights community.
Yeah. So I have a laundry list of things that I want to make sure we're getting. This is just from the first 2 visits. We have another 2 scheduled. So I do have so District 10 is on the list. The other fire station you mentioned is actually outside of the city limits of Airway Heights. But we do want to get District 10. We do want to get some of the parks and recs, some of the interiors on the water treatment facility, and also some exteriors on the water treatment facility. We do want a couple shots of the casinos. They have such a good PR, guys, though. If we ever need pictures of their stuff, we can ask them, and they have these great photos. So we want to take a couple. But yeah, I've gotten about halfway down my list. So you're going to see some more pictures, and this isn't the end of this. So, but no, I appreciate the suggestions. But yeah, we definitely have those on the list still. So. And there's one more thing I wanted to try and go through. And you'll have to apologize. We have a working draft of the new website. There's a newer version of that draft, but I wasn't able to get a link to it to show you guys tonight. But I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit where we're at and what the process is like right now. So this is the older wireframe of that. Really what I want to show you here is a couple things. One, we're really trying to prominently show a search bar to make it easier for people to go to the website, search what they need, find what they need. We're making an investment, a lot of investment in time on that aspect of it. Also, we're working right now on the front end design of essentially binning specific items together. This is not how it's going to look. It's actually going to be an accordion, which is kind of like this, where you click it and multiple things drop down. So we'll be featuring that. But right now, our discussions have to do with, what are the major topics and what makes sense? Why do people come to the website? and how can we kind of funnel them to what they need and where they need to go. Lastly, there's one quick feature. We're going to have a static top end on that. So very similar to this, where no matter where you move on the site, it comes with you. So we know we want that. We know we're going to do the accordion. I'm in the process right now of reviewing individually every single page on our current site and updating it, which is a lot of work, but we're getting there. But our goal right now is to have this completed and ready to go in January. So that includes featuring all the new logos and all the new colors and everything. But I think we're on the right track. Zipline is doing a great job, and yeah, we're really excited. So that concludes my my workshop, I guess, on the 2022 branding and website development.
Thank you, Zach. That was really good stuff. I can't wait to see how it all ends when it's done and said. Seems like we've been working on this logo for a while now.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do, we have to go through an RFP process when we're hiring for such a big project. So that in itself was a couple months. So we've been talking about it a while. It's really exciting and nice to be in it now, to where we can actually show you what we're doing as opposed to just talking about it.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, it's
Thank
really
you,
good.
Zach.
We can't wait.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I just said thank you.
Oh, and like I mentioned multiple times, I will be sending both of you and Cal a survey tomorrow morning. Please have that filled out by Friday so we can get this turned around and get all of your input implemented into the next round of logos by next week.
Nice.
Great, thank you.
So workshop B, this planning commission vacancy update. Is that you, Zach, or Heather? Are you updating us on this?
I'm going to update you. It's just going to be a really brief. So as both of you know, we now have 2 vacancies on the planning commission. Sorry. So as both of you know, we do have 2 vacancies. We did have an opening. We have 1 applicant currently. I have extended the acceptance window for applications through October 30th. Firstly, if either of you know of anyone who's interested in serving on the planning commission, please let us know. And we can talk to them and get them some application materials. We do have about 3 other people who have expressed interest but have not culminated within an application yet. So we are working on those. The goal is to have applicants or interested parties present at the November meeting of the Planning Commission for you to do kind of essentially a meet and greet. And then if you'd like to provide recommendations to the city council, you can. The second piece here is that, Mark, we started a conversation, and then Heather and I have had a follow-up conversation regarding the current requirements for Planning Commission. And I wanted to just quickly open that up to see if between you and Angelina, if you, not to vote or anything, but just, do you have any initial thoughts on adjusting the requirements for the Planning Commission in terms of having an additional commissioner without the vacancy, or sorry, not vacancy, the residency requirement?
I mean, the last time we talked about this, I feel like it's needed, but I like how, which commission was it that had, like, none of the positions had a residency requirement? It was just a vested interest in the city requirement.
So that conversation we were having had to do with the Arts Commission.
The Arts Commission. I feel like that's what we realistically need to get to. As long as somebody has a vested interest in the city, we can open up our candidate list just extraordinary. I mean, I think back to that last time we interviewed people, we had more people outside the city than in the city.
Yeah.
The way that it ended up was we still have some limited residency requirements on the Arts Commission, but it opened it up because there were other classifications, criteria for the individual roles, so that there was still an ability to look at how they were serving on the Arts Commission. But as you know, Mark, it's been historically difficult to get a majority of the commission to be also residents. It's one of the most turnover that we see on a commission body.
You know, too, what's a little different about Airway Heights, you know, we have the Kalispell tribe and the Spokane tribe that have established trust lands here in the Airway Heights vicinities to build their casinos and their businesses here and create over 3,000 plus jobs. But at the same time, they have reservation lands like the Kalispells are about 65 miles away from Airway Heights, but yet they have 200 and I believe 74 acres of tribal trust land here in Airway Heights established for their business. And then the Spokane tribe is expanding their business and hotel and entertainment facilities as well. And they live, their main reservation is about 60 miles out of town. So they have major tribal councils, tribal members that live out of the vicinity, but yet have major interest because of their trust obligations here in Airway Heights. So opening it up, and because even if we could convince, or even I could convince, I work with the tribes all the time, of having some of these tribal council members become part of the board would be really, really influential. The Kalispells alone donate over $22 million every year to communities. Even our Airway Heights rec facility was built by the Airway Heights and then donated to the city of Airway Heights. And I forgot to mention that too, getting photos of that beautiful new rec center, showing all the beautiful things we offer here to the community. I think opening it up would be beneficial.
Okay.
But anyway, that's my comment.
Okay. So if you like what we can do, so the way it reads right now is it you still have to be a resident of Spokane County. So we could do an amendment, and Heather, correct me if I'm wrong here. We would have to do it's an amendment to a code because it is codified. So we could essentially change the number from residencies to 3 to 2 or however it's written. But if you want to also adjust, you know, what does it necessarily mean to have a vested interest in Airway Heights, you know, and we can have a bigger conversation about that when Cal's here. But I just wanted to again just gauge interest, and this is something I can bring back to you guys next month. And in the meantime, if we receive applications, we can go forward with those two and maybe just fill one of the positions, or you know, whatever you want to do.
I'm going to say, like, now, Zach, we had this conversation 2 months ago, right? And we were talking about, you know, sending the recommendation off to city council. So hopefully city council can do this. Well, we're 2 months ahead now and we're down 2 people, and all it's going to take is losing one more. And then there's no quorum, there's nothing. So the quicker we can get this off to city council and make this change, I think the quicker we'll be able to fill these positions, and hopefully changing that residency requirement, get some more long-term thinking people on the commission.
Okay, Heather.
I was just gonna add that in the conversation we had when Hank was appointed to the city council was, should we go through this process of amending the code or do the recruitment? And the recommendation at the time was to go through the recruitment with the expectation that we'd be able to fill that one position rather quickly, because to amend the code is not, you know, not quick. I mean, it's gonna take a couple of meetings and some code changes to do that. What's different now than when we had this conversation is that we've had an additional resignation. And the individuals that had expressed interest did not move forward with applying because at that time, we did have a couple of people who had expressed interest. So, what we can do certainly is we can, bring forth some suggestions as to how to modify the code to expand the opportunity, to be on the plan commission. We do know that there are several people who've been wanting to be on the plan commission, but the current code, the way that it's written, because of the residency requirement for 3 of the members, has been limiting. But they are Spokane County members, or residents for the 2 that we are aware of that actually applied last year, to be on the commission. And then we'll just move forward after we brief that next month to you to go to council and see if we get any additional applications in the meantime. So we'll kind of run them parallel.
Nice.
Wait, that's all. We'll get that going, and yeah, we'll swing back next month.
Awesome. All right, let's go on to grant applications update.
Heather, do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to scroll for you?
Go ahead and scroll. Well, we've been busy because it is grant season. So there's kind of 2 main seasons for grants, for state and federal level. And we have the opportunity to apply for several, oops, too far. There you go. We had the opportunity to apply for a couple of these. They were short notification, only had 45 days from the time that the state notified us to the actual application deadline. This one is a Defense Community Compatibility account. This is only the 2nd time that this grant has ever been offered. And it's not so much a grant as it's a request for proposals that the Department of Commerce for Washington State collects. And they present to the state legislature during this session, requesting an appropriation of funding to cover these projects. And they are all specifically around communities that have been impacted by military facilities in Washington State, and impacted, if you can scroll down a bit more, Zach, includes that in some way that they're right there. Keep going. Sorry, I thought that was the 5 criteria. Keep going. Oh, I think we're too far. One of the criteria has to do with that there's been some type of dependence by the local economy on the service people who frequent the military installation, and that we would be able to apply for funds that would allow businesses to be more independent from the frequency of the service people from the nearby installation. Another criteria had to do with there being incompatible uses around that military installation. And so we did propose under each of those criteria 2 separate grant applications. The first was piggybacking on a grant that we received from Spokane Regional Transportation Council this year for $887,000 in order to do an engineering design along US 2 from Lawson to Lundstrom. So that's the 2 blocks essentially where all those small businesses are. So Wolfie's kind of is at one part of it, you know, the Airway Heights Physical Therapy, several of our locally owned restaurants are all in this core area of our downtown plan, which designated as the core area. And the idea is to piggyback on what will be designs and hopefully construction for slower traffic, more bike and pedestrian facilities to help the businesses in that area prepare for these roadway changes by offering a facade replacement or renovation program. And you may have heard of similar programs. Spokane did one a couple of years ago on Monroe Street prior to the roadway diet. They offered grants to the businesses to spruce up the appearance, and it dramatically changed the appearance of Monroe. and the same grant was offered on Sprague. These types of programs are actually modeled after the historic preservation Main Street program. So these ideas of helping investment into local businesses to help create a more attractive facade and to improve the overall integration of those businesses in the streetscape. So the map here kind of shows the 2-block area, and we've asked for about $500,000 in order to do this grant, and that funding would cover design assistance. We'd have an architect helping businesses who are interested in the grant come up with ideas about how to change the facade. And it would be a 1-for-1 match up to $10,000 per business that would be able to get the grant, which is identical to, I believe it's identical to the grant that was offered on the road. So if a business owner invests $10,000, then the city will match that with $10,000. It's a grant, it's not a loan, and so it goes directly into investment in the facade. And then on the back end, in order to ensure that that construction investment is maintained for a while, the property owner would need to agree to a facade easement to protect those improvements on the front of the building so that they would remain for a period of time. So we're hoping that this will help catalyze the downtown area as we begin working on the design, and then hopefully follow up with construction funding to build those roundabouts and the enhanced crossing at Green Street, and you know, deal with some bicycle and pedestrian facilities in a very creative way around that area. So that's the summary of the first one. The second one is a grant application that has to do with compatibility issues with Fairchild. And Mark will remember this, Angelina may remember this from when we worked on the comprehensive plan in 2020. And we talked a lot about the area south of US 2, which has to do with the mobile home parks that are there. As you know, for a number of years since, you know, maybe as early as 2012, the city has been actively working with Spokane County and the legislature to relocate the residents that are in those mobile home parks, because the parks are located in an accident potential zone. And what that accident potential zone is there's a significantly increased likelihood that there will be a plane crash because it's at the end of the airfield for Fairchild Air Force Base. So it's a hazardous area. Those mobile home parks, while they're grandfathered there, the long-term goal has been to help those residents relocate out of those areas, stay within our community, and eventually have that area changed to a non-residential use more compatible with a accident potential area. And as you know, things like investing with community frameworks in Highland Village to build a housing complex outside of this area north of US to Highland Village with rental and homeowner opportunities has been a key element in helping with that relocation effort. We have received in the past, because of this coordinated work with Spokane County, appropriations from the Washington State Legislature, I believe in 2012 and 2016, which allowed for the Solar World mobile home park to be purchased and then decommissioned. The county is still holding the second half of that money with a willing seller, willing buyer process. But one of the dilemmas that we have heard from our partners, Community Frameworks and Habitat for Humanity, is that while they are having interest in people participating and moving to the Highland Village project, it has left the opportunity for the mobile home park owners to re-rent the same units. And so we're not actually decreasing the population in the parks. We're just moving some people out and other people are moving in. So this proposal would be an interim strategy until those parks could be purchased to essentially purchase development rights from those mobile home park owners, in which we would, through a fiduciary exchange, they they would allow for a covenant to be placed on the property, which would limit their ability to ever have another occupant in that space. Because of course, mobile home parks are typically one single parcel with, multiple units on it. And that part of that money could also be used to acquire a mobile home, to decommission it, in other words, demolish it and have it removed from the site. Leading up to this, there had been a report looking at the condition of the mobile homes in these parks, and at least 50% of those units were identified as poor condition. And we hear that back from the habitat community frameworks, as well as these units are very, very, very old, and that they need some substantial repairs to them. And so this would assist with allowing for there to be a way to continue to lower the population, and yet work with the property owners in order to do that over a period of time, and still be working on a longer term strategy for funding to acquire the mobile home parks and eventually decommission those. So we're requesting in this application, I believe, about $3.5 million in order to assist with that process. And I think we propose to use those dollars over either a 3 or 5 year period that would assist with the habitat and frameworks relocation of residents to develop to purchase the development right for those spaces, take the unit on it and decommission it, and then keep working forward. So big opportunity for us to work on some key strategies that tie in with our plans. So the downtown plan, the comprehensive plan, and potentially see some real physical change in these areas if we were able to receive these funds.
How long do you think till the city hears something back, Heather?
I expect that we will hear something before the end of this legislative session. That's the goal and the timing by Department of Commerce was to ask for it this session. Because it's
Nice.
the beginning of the biannual budget for the state.
Well, hope for the best, because that would be nice to get that downtown area started and then find a better solution for those mobile home parks. Notice it seems like we have a fire there every couple of years.
Yes, we had a couple of fires last summer, right on Lawson. Yep, Lawson, heading south into that area. I will add that we are just on the cusp of submitting another grant application. This one's federal, and it has a very similar title. It's called Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant. And that as a community that has been divided by a highway, that's what makes us eligible. And it's a very common theme throughout the United States that there's a major interstate, highway, or railroad that has divided a community. This pilot transportation grant became available, so we'll be competing with communities all across the state and all across the nation for funding. We are asking for $1.8 million to do engineering. It would continue the work of designing, engineering, multimodal improvements along US 2 from Lawson down to Garfield, with the goal of helping reconnect the north and the south side. Because if you want to go to the grocery store, you got to cross US 2 to get to Oaks, and if you want to go to the library, you got to cross US 2 north. If you want to go pay your utility bill, you got to cross US 2 to go north. So as you know, we've had quite a number of accidents on US 2, we've had fatalities on US 2 as a result of vehicle and pedestrian collision. And so we're hoping that we're poised well in order to get that funding. And again, the goal is to have an engineering design where we're implementing a whole bunch of strategies to reconnect, to make it safer for walking and biking along the corridor. The bigger picture, though, between either either the grant we got for Lawson to Lundstrom and the downtown area, or this future grant, is that we would be able to get all of the work done so that we could then apply for construction dollars. And we'd be well positioned to do that because they would be shovel ready, because both of these, the one we got and the one we're applying for, federal grants. And there's a whole bunch of additional work we need to do, verification of right of way, we have to do an equity analysis. We have to do an environmental analysis as well as the actual design. And getting these dollars would just help us step up into that position to be able to apply for construction. So to give you an example, for the grant we did get for engineering to build that 2-block segment from Lawson to Lundstrom, the cost is estimated between 12 to $15 million. And so it's very necessary for us to think very strategically about how we're going to try and go after those construction dollars, because it will likely require pairing state with federal dollars at that high level. And to make a real dramatic and substantial change to the US 2 corridor through the city.
Nice. I'll tell you, I was down in Mississippi this past week, and there wasn't a crosswalk anywhere. And it kind of was shocking to me, because anywhere you travel in Airway is pretty safe, and to think that we're trying to make it even safer and better for people to traverse the city is pretty amazing. I like where we're going.
That's awesome. Well, I would say our fire marshal, Mitch Metzger, would probably say that it's really not that safe on US 2. And if you've been driving on any given day at any given time, there's almost always either our fire department or District 10 responding to a car accident along US 2. So I think
Is that why they call it Sunset Highway?
what, Sunset Highway?
Why they call it the Sunset Highway?
No, why do they call it Sunset Highway?
No, I'm making a joke because that sun gets so bad in your eyes sometimes. I can assume it does cause traffic accidents.
Yes, I'm sure it does. And then I think there are other factors. We just as anecdotal information, I met with the city of Spokane today over discussion of mitigation for the traffic that's coming from Spokane into Airway Heights. And I don't think they were quite aware that our intersection at Hayford and US 2 is failing. Like, it takes 3 lights to get through at Hayford and US 2, in the late afternoon, according to our traffic engineer. And, from where our office is, which is almost at the city limits, so basically Ziegler, at 4 o'clock, traffic from Hayford Road's backed all the way up to Ziegler at some point. So, it just makes the bigger picture more complicated, like all that congestion, all those trips, the visibility, people trying to get around, makes it a complicated problem to try and work through.
Fair enough. But I will say it's nice compared to some other communities I've gone to. And I know they're making it better. Just the past 2 years, we added 3 roundabouts, added in that crossing section up there on Hayford, more towards Northern Quest. So, I mean, we're definitely moving in a right direction, it seems like. I'll say, I also think it goes to our community, right? Because we got more traffic now than when I first moved out here almost a decade ago. Just so much more traffic. And that's all these people coming out to our community. You see construction every day. It's a good thing I think we're seeing in our community.
Absolutely. Well, that is just an update on the grants that we just recently applied for, and a little bit of tidbit of the one we are applying for. Tomorrow is the deadline. And thank goodness grant season is over, because we're all tired.
I bet. Well, it's staff reports next, or is it commission reports next? Commissioner reports. Commissioner Capabasso, do you have anything you want to share?
Well, we've been trying to do the tree planting project for a while, and it's been stalled. And of course, COVID came into play, and kind kind of wanted to throw that back up on the table, and I know we had some plans come out of where water lines could and could not go for trees, and I had mentioned previously it would be nice if we could plant more indigenous trees that wouldn't necessarily need water lines for them to survive. And I've had some 350 Spokane climate change folks said they would assist in the project, and even having a group of folks come out and help plant. And we even came up with the idea of having maybe possible the Airway Heights prison folks be able to help plant, and contacting them. But it's a big project, and it's kind of always, it kind of went back on the back burner again. But I'd like to resurrect that project. Maybe in the spring, if we could try to plan in the winter months for more tree planting to happen, that would be nice.
What's the best season, Angelina, to do tree plantings?
Either the spring, or if you're transplanting plants, more in the fall. And I could probably bring some of that information from 350 Spokane folks that had volunteered to help us with this project. Maybe I can try to have some of that for the next meeting. Maybe even
Okay.
invite one of those folks to come.
Okay, I would assume if it was the fall, we're just getting too late in the year, we'd have to look towards the spring to try to do something.
Yes, and it would take a big group of folks to do such a project.
Okay, I mean, I just feel like there's ways we can tie in different parts of the community. If you want to bring in like the business side of things and just try doing it now that COVID's kind of winding down and we're getting back to that, that would be something good for our community.
Yeah, just beautification for the community, also climate change, the more trees we have, the less heat we'll have, and whatever we can do for greenery in our community would be really nice.
I agree. I'm gonna just leave my comments at that last section during the workshops and move on to staff reports.
Zach, you wanna go ahead and give your update and then I'll go last.
Yeah, well, you got a big update on the website project, which is something we were working really hard on. We're kind of winding down the busy season for construction. So our current projects, at some point when the weather starts to turn, if the weather starts to ever turn, we'll be winding down a little bit. As that winds down, we will be leaning on the Planning Commission a little bit, because we are going to be starting to look at some code sections to do some rewrites. One of them we've identified that we are actually going to be looking at hiring somebody to help us out with will be the landscaping section. We are also looking, at potentially other zoning code sections. So that's just to give you an idea of what's upcoming for the winter. That's probably the biggest thing. Yeah, and the rest of it, we still have, some pretty significant current projects open, but they're all working, and we'll get there when we get there. So, Heather.
Oh, great, Zach. I just want to give a shout out to Zach when he talks about helping with the content of the website, that we have 131 pages that all have to be reviewed, screen migrated, and then working with all of the departments to identify, what to keep and what to get rid of, and then what to build new or, add to the site. So it's been a substantial effort that Zach's leading. He's doing a great job, and I'm really glad that we have Plan Commission, City Council, and staff on that subcommittee to help with that project, because it's been very much needed for a long time. Just to remind everybody, our website is broken. cracked. It's literally broken. The only person who can update our current website is Zach, because he has to write HTML code in order to post a single thing on there. I mean, that's how broken it is. And we have an emergency backup plan to clone the site as a static site if it goes down before the launch of the new website in January. And just remember, the website did break completely last fall, about basically November through January last year. So we're on that creepy edge of of not having stuff. So if you hear from the community complaints about our site being static and not being able to find things, we're just as frustrated too, that he's doing a stellar job of helping move this much needed project forward. I also wanted to just kind of give an update on, some other initiatives that we're working on, which you may have heard about from the city council, but we certainly want to engage in this conversation, which is having to do with process improvements around building, planning, public works, fire review of projects. And, we certainly are looking to kind of modernize our system. So that means investments in technology. We also are aware that we're behind the times with regards to the type of positions that we have. We are aware that in this post-COVID world, that is very, very difficult to hire and hire qualified people. So both hire and qualified into roles. And this year we've had 2 critical vacancies. So our city engineer retired and our permits coordinator relocated. And so that's created a significant shortage in the staff, and it's been difficult to help replace those roles. So it's been drawing us into more work in other areas of the city to help backfill, project review, etc. But the city council has been actively involved in helping with that. So there's been several meetings talking about what kind of positions do we need, how do we make sure that we're competitive in updating those job descriptions. But it also, when we talk about technology, it means that we're going to be upgrading our systems. So we are very fortunate to have an online permit system, one of the few small communities that were nimble enough during COVID to be able to continue to take applications electronically. We didn't shut down, we continued all through COVID. We're now moving our system to the cloud, which will allow for online applications for some types of simple permits, which will mean apply, pay, and get a permit. So we're very much looking forward to how we're going to be launching that toward the end of this year, and the ability to take credit card payments through the system, so it's easier for the community to move forward with projects. And then we're also going to be updating our processes, looking at how we do intake review, issue permits, and so forth. So a lot of changes on that side of the house, really the current planning, in order to help with our business side of helping people continue to get their projects through here at the city. And then exciting news, which is our Arts Commission, which was formed here very recently with the city council. We do have 7 people. And just by coincidence, I think we ended up with at least 3 residents. So that's awesome. So we did actually, Angelina, following up on her comment about the tribes being interested in a role with the city. We do have a representative from the Kalispell tribe, Tina Namina, who is on the Arts Commission. And that full body will be meeting for the first time at a kickoff meeting on October 24th, which will be at City Hall from I think it's noon to 1. That was the time that worked for everybody. Time for everybody to get to know each other, talk about farming as a committee and so forth. And we've been also hunting up some money for them to use so that they can begin to think about their first arts project, which will probably be something like a placemaking idea in the downtown area. So lots and lots of activity going on in all aspects of our office and just wanted to keep you updated on, we're growing up. We're getting there as a community.
Nice. Well, that's cool to see that commission finally start up and go into place. It's going to be neat when they start doing those roundabouts and getting everything decorated in the city.
Absolutely. Well, that just concludes staff reports, and thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Heather. Well, if we don't have anything else, I'm going to call this meeting to end at 7:08. So are we still recording right now, Zach?